King of Kings Ministry este o lucrare care îl are în centru pe Mesia, care crede în puterea Duhului Sfânt și în facerea de ucenici în Israel și în întreaga lume, iar astăzi alături de mine în studio este Daniel Gepert de la King of Kings Ministry din Ierusalim. Welcome to our Alfa Omega News studio.
Thank you so much.
First of all, maybe you can share a few things about you. I know that you are a German, but living in Jerusalem. How did you end up there?
Well, that's a long story. So again, German in Israel. My wife is Canadian, to make that story maybe even a little bit more complicated. But short answer is really that God called me. He spoke to me through Matthew 10 verse 6, but rather go to the lost sheep of Israel. And that was kind of my message for me. And then he did his own work. It would go too much into detail, but my job was to be ready for his calling, and that took a while, just to be ready to realize God is wanting me to go this direction and to have my heart ready for whenever he called. So that's kind of the short answer to that question.
You are working for King of Kings Ministry. What is the purpose of King of Kings Ministry?
So we are a network of congregations and ministries in Israel. Mainly, we have 16 congregations, 16 churches in Israel, some ministries as well, such as a soup kitchen, distribution center where we give out clothing, we give out groceries, just to bless the people in Israel. In Jerusalem, if you go by the statistics, half of Jerusalem lives under the poverty line. It's a very expensive country and the income is low. So people struggle a lot. So we want to help, but also shine with God's love into these people's lives. So our heart is to plant congregations in Israel and just to bring the name of Jesus to these people and the hope and the love that he has for them.
How hard is to do that? Maybe you can share with the Romanians who maybe never visited Israel, Jerusalem. What are the challenges of the Messianic community that they face?
Yeah, it is very hard. So just to give you an idea, Israel is celebrating 75 years of its existence this year. And there are approximately 20,000 people in Israel who actively believe in Jesus. So that's 0.2% of the population. So it's basically statistically an unreached people. And that just gives you an idea. The gospel was around for 2,000 years, and now we have 20,000 people in Israel who believe that very truth. So just to show you how difficult it is to get that message into people's lives. And then among society, among the people, of course, there are so many different opinions. And one very common opinion is that whenever you start believing and accepting Jesus, you are throwing everything away. The society doesn't look at you as a Jew anymore. They think you betrayed their people, you betrayed the country. So that is obviously a big obstacle for everyone. They know my family is gonna hate me, is going to abandon me. So that already by itself is very difficult. And then in some areas there is no foundation actually they're so secular, which might be even advantageous for us, but in some others it's so religious that it's so many obstacles in the way for getting there. But we try. There's a lot of prayer for that direction, and really what it takes is that God is stepping into people's lives and opening their eyes. It's every person, every story that we hear of somebody coming to faith is really a miracle.
Romania is an ex-communist country, and during the times after the revolution, Romanians also had like a period of time when they have a lot of stories of how they turned their faces to Jesus. But nowadays we got used to this, so it's a common thing for Romanians to go public and say they are believers. It's nothing special, it's nothing challenging. Maybe you can share one of a story of yours, if you can share with our Romanian public, about what it means to receive God and to publicly say I believe in God in Israel.
Yeah, that is again very challenging. You just looking at the numbers, you can probably assume that you're the only believer in your workspace. You're maybe the only student or the only believer in your university, in your college, in your class. So it just transfers into all these different areas of life. And then just to say, well, here I am, I'm a believer in Yeshua. I believe that Yeshua is the Messiah. Very challenging. We have a young man in our congregation, and he comes out of a Orthodox Jewish family from Jerusalem and came to faith through just crazy story, and told his family, who then immediately abandoned him. That is, I call it a good scenario, because very often the family would go after that person, even threaten to kill that person or get that person and brainwash that person again in a camp. They let him go, they abandon him, they have no contact anymore, they're not in touch. He's married now, they come together as a family, they have a 3-year-old daughter to our congregation, and the family has not seen their 3-year-old daughter yet. So that just shows how difficult it is for people to say that. So within the 20,000, we don't know how many secret believers there are, how many people have heard the gospel through YouTube, like through videos on YouTube. That is a whole different thing. We don't know if it's 5, if it's 5,000, if it's whatever. We hope it's more than we assume, but just gives you a little bit of an idea what kind of society it is in Israel now.
I think it's very hard to convince a believer to publicly say, yes, I'm a believer.
Yeah, I think...
and just make really, this huge step in his faith life.
Yeah, I think even I see myself back then when I was a child, and I was in Germany, where basically 70% was, at least in my class, nominal Christians. Yes. Even there it was awkward because I was the only believer. They looked maybe weird at me, or I think there's a lot in our head too. But I was afraid just from being looked at. So I can imagine this is 10 times, 100 times more than what we might think. So
then what motivates you to stay in Jerusalem and not say, okay, I'll take my family and live in Germany, more independent, free country where I can say what I want, I can reach out more easily, people for Christ. Why do you stay there?
Well, I personally love Israel, not just from a biblical background, but it's some sort of home for me, not just some sort, but it's really our home. One of our daughters was born there. The other one moved there when she was 6 months old. After we got married, immediately we moved there. So we really don't know life outside of Israel. So that just from a human perspective, it's home. And then I feel called to, I must say, even I would feel like I'm abandoning God's calling for me. If I leave, I would probably feel like a Jonah. And everybody else, like if we know that God is calling us to, and it would probably be disobedient. So I probably don't have another option either.
In the end, do you have a message maybe for Romanian believers who are watching you, your story, your ministry right now?
Yeah, pray. I think there are many things you can do. You probably don't know too many Jewish people around you. If you have a heart for Israel, number one, I think the Bible calls on us. If you read Romans 11, it is pretty clear that Paul encourages us. He says that the gospel has come to us Gentiles, to the countries around Israel, because Israel has fallen. But Paul is very motivated to bring the news to them, and even in the Old Testament, in Moses, first book of Moses and fifth book of Moses, God prophesies already that the nations will bring blessings to Israel. So there's really a calling that I think we as believers have for Israel. And one thing everybody can do is prayer, and pray for the believers in Israel. They're going through a tough time, what I shared already about, but also with this whole political thing that is going on right now, that is dividing the body as much as it's dividing society in Israel right now. So unity among the believers, and really for God to lift up the veil that many people have, and appear to them in dreams and visions. He's doing that. There are amazing stories out there, and you can really see how God is working.
Thank you, Daniel, for being with us, and we will pray for you, we'll pray for Israel, so then God can make a miracle wherever you go.
Thank you so much.
Alfa